Good evening and welcome to night 11 of the Fallout Bar, brought to you by Online Darts, sponsored by our friends at Paddy Power. And for a one-off special, we are joined by the one and only John O'Shea. John, late night, are you ready for this?
Well, ready is probably no. So should we give it a bash anyway? We'll just get things right now. I'm not Chris Mason or does
are you going to say you're even better? Is that you're building yourself up? Is that the start?
Well, we'll see how tonight goes.
John, before we go into today's action, did Christmas?
Yeah, to say, it was quiet, but enjoyable again at the same time, Kids enjoyed it, That's what it's all about, really. It's all about the children,
Yeah, 100%. And one thing that wasn't quiet was day 11 at the darts. Before we go into each games, what a day. What a day, Mr. O'Shea. We had a bit of everything.
Yeah, there was just so much. There's so much that to even cover tonight, like that what happened today in the darts, But do you know what, Lee? I didn't expect anything else other than what's been coming. It's been a marvelous World Championships, to be fair. From start right up till now, and it's only going to get better. But yeah, what a day! What a day you got me to cover.
Just before we go into the games, let's say a quick hello to a few people in the chat room. Daniel's in, Joel's in, HGV's in, Dan Simpson's in. I've seen Dan Simpson was looking forward to it, as he doesn't tune in this like normally Dan doesn't, but it's does you're on, John. That's definitely does Mr. Simpson's join. Bob says hello. Rob says it's the Joker. And Connor's in as well. Let's get started. And what a way to start the day with Stephen Bunting defeating Florian Hempel 4-0. And John, it just seemed from the off, Bunting was all the hype that's been around Bunting. He lived up to that and much more.
100%. The last few months, it didn't shock me what he was producing today and what he's produced in the last few games and in tournaments previous to this. The man is an exceptional player. I actually think he's underachieved in the PDC in the length of time he's been there, but he seems to be coming into his own now at the moment. You know what I mean? And fair play to him. Fair play to him. There's not a lot of guys out there. 33, 34 ton plus averages this year. Yeah, that's fair going. You know what I mean? Fair play to him.
And the start that Bunting had, I'm just looking down at my phone to just make sure that the number's right there. Picked up from Redbit, 115.6 start, 107 set 2. It dropped then to 96 and 87, but by then it seemed that Florian Hempel, who, let's be honest, played very well, scored very well, just didn't have the chances. But it seemed like Bunting had done the damage early on.
Yeah, but you know what, Florian, fair play to Florian. First up, you know what I mean? And people should realise that these players, they're not here to make up the numbers. These boys can play darts. Do you know what I mean? And I know Florian was under pressure at the start of his previous game. If he lost, he would have lost his tour card and whatnot. You know what I mean? So coming in against Stephen after the way he played in his previous game, he was buzzing, but he lost the first set with 107 average. And Bunting is averaging 115. I think it was six legs, maybe. I think he had nearly 100% double percentage, which was, like the commentary said earlier on, if you're playing on a pro tour and you're playing the best of 11 and you win 6-0 and 100% on your doubles, what do you do?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You shake the man's hand, walk off, and say, "Well, geez, I hope he doesn't do that too often." You gotta respect these people. And Florian Hempel played his part in that game. I know he'll probably walk away from it, probably feeling a bit unjust, but you could see him every time Stephen hit a double. It was oh Jesus, is he going to miss? And he didn't for a period of time. He didn't miss. and didn't look like he was going to miss 100% on your checkout rate, yeah, what do you do, Lee? You know what I mean? Like, what do you do? How can you fight that? You know?
Exactly that. It was damage done very early on. But just before we listen to Stephen Bunting and talk a little bit more about Stephen, from a Florian Hempel point of view, John, do you think coming into the tournament, not looking just at today, but coming into the tournament, is he walking away thinking job done? Because he's come up against someone today who's absolutely everything.
Yeah.
But at the end of this tournament, he's retained his tortard status.
Yeah, 100%. I think, okay, if I was to put myself in Florian's position, where I had lost my tour card as well, but I didn't make the World Championships. But if I was in his position and I had won 1 or 2 games where I was able to secure my tour card, I think job done. I think everybody would be happy. Management would be happy. I would be happy that I'm going back in February to play on the Pro Tour. If that's your end game, then job done as far as I'm concerned. So today's game, I think he might have went in there with the attitude. Don't get me wrong, every player goes up there to win, right? But I'm just saying, at the same time, had he the same intensity he had to make sure he got that win in the last round to secure his card, as opposed to now he's on a free roll. If he beats Stephen Bunting, it's money.
Yeah. It's less pressure probably into next year and moving forward.
Yeah,
that's what that would have brought.
I could see the difference in the two players, Florian today and Florian the other day, where the intensity. Oh, it's like I gotta throw really, really well here. I need to keep my card. And he done that, and it was like a weight lifted off his shoulders. He went into the Stephen Bunting game saying, "Okay, I played really well in that game. There's no reason why I can't play well against Stephen." But then Stephen was in a whole different zone altogether. The first 2 or 3 sets, it was like, oh man, that was mind-boggling. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and this is why I always said about Stephen Bunting, like, he's been in the PDC 10 years now, and he, like, for me, Stephen Bunting is a guy that should be competing every year for a spot in the Premier League. That's my opinion. I really do. I really think he's that good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he's certainly living up to that argument right now with his performances. And talking about Stephen Bunting, let's hear from Stephen Bunting himself, a little clip from his post-match interview with Phil.
There's 2 of us up there and we'll both be trying to win. If I play my best game, I have a chance, but let's see what happens tomorrow.
Good afternoon, thank you.
Thank you.
Stephen, congratulations on that tie. Did you hear what Michael said last night when he said, "Give me Bunting"?
He's got him, hasn't he?
Careful what you wish for, is it?
Like I said, just another game to me. Obviously Michael Van Gerwen is a special talent and I need to play well to win, but there's no pressure on me at all. I'm a massive underdog, and I'll go into that feeling that way, and obviously I'll put the preparation in and make sure I'm 100% ready.
Sounds like he's looking forward to it, John.
Yeah.
And
you got to be careful. It's exactly what Phil said. Like, you got to be careful what you wish for. You know what I mean? Like, and Stephen, he's going to take sets. It's whether the timing is right. This all these boys can play it out. It's Taylor said it for years. It's all about timing. When you hit that score to leave that finish. They can all play the game. That goes without question. Every single one of those players that made it to Ali Pali or are playing on the Pro Tour, they can all play. It's all about hitting that score at 2-2 in the set to win that pivotal set and to take that set then. That's what this game boils down to in this format. You know? I think he gives MVG a right good go, if not beat him. Let's be honest. I really believe that.
Hold that for now, John, because we will be predicting tomorrow night.
Well, I'll change my mind before the time we finish.
I'm sure you will. You'll sit on the fence with that one, and who knows what will happen with it. But we will move on to game number 2 in what for me was just a fantastic day of darts, and the afternoon session. There was a lot of expectation around the afternoon session, around it being probably the best of the round 3. And for me, it lived up to that. And one of the games that done that was Joe Cullen versus Ryan Searle. It was an inconsistent Ryan Searle, I think, is probably the best way to put it, as there was moments of brilliance, but Joe Cullen just stepped up, and when the moments were needed and when Searle did throw stuff back at him, we found Joe Cullen to find another gear.
Yeah, I agree. When the game was going on, and as I was watching it, I felt there was only one thing to call this game, and it was a game of opportunities, lost and won. Do you know what I mean? Like there were Joe. I had Ryan down, I think, to win 4-3.
Yes.
Simply because, just simply because I thought Joe this year, I just thought Joe this year hadn't done a whole lot. Now, for when I say that, when I say that, like I know he's got to 2 semi-finals of 2 majors, but Joe's expectations of himself, I think Joe underperformed this year. So the reason I went for Ryan was I felt that Ryan was doing his bit week in, week out, and whatnot, and I felt that he maybe just had that edge. It was 4-3 either way, but the chances that the doubles that Searle missed, and then Joe couldn't take those opportunities when he was given them. I was like, oh, this is going to swing and roundabouts. It was going, you know what I mean? Like, and then Joe took control of the game, and I felt sorry for Ryan because he didn't deserve to lose the way he did, even though he still averaged 99 after the first 2 sets, with all those still missed doubles. Now, he finished up losing 4-2 Ryan. I think he had like 24% on his double. To what did Joe have? Maybe 40%.
Yeah, 23.5 for Ryan and 40% for Joe, which was crucial.
Yeah, look, Ryan knows himself. Like that's where he lost that game. Simple as that. Like, you know what I mean? Like there was chances there. I think there were 2 sets all were there, and I think he'd 7 missed darts and doubles to win the set, to go 3-2 up after coming from 2-0 down or something, 2-1 down. Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough to take.
Yeah, it certainly is. And before today's session, me and you dropped a few messages with our predictions on, and both of us on this one sided with Ryan Searle. Do you think we probably underestimated that? Yes, Joe Cullen hasn't had a great year in regards to, because he hasn't picked up a title, whether that be on the floor or anywhere else, that we probably taught him that. But actually on TV, as you mentioned earlier, the 2 semi-finals, from a TV perspective, he's done stuff that in previous years, obviously last year, the year before he won the Masters, but he hasn't done on the TV. And do you think we probably underestimated how good Joe Cullen can be on that big stage?
Yeah, like I mean, let's be honest about it. If you think about it logically, right? Today's game, when Ryan Searle and Joe Cullen came into this game, and I've watched all the games, and I would have, if you had said to me today about Joe, I would have said that, oh geez, today's his first day playing, because he's went so quietly about the way he's been going, not just for this tournament, but seeing Joe today playing for the first time. Well, I've seen him play his first round game, but to see him play today against Ryan Searle, it was like today was his first time playing, because nobody made a big. You must understand, like, you know what I mean. Like when you're sitting down watching the darts playing, and Luke Littler has done all these amazing things. The likes of Ryan Searle, the likes of Joe Cullen, that moment that they're supposed to get spoken about is gone. And if you've popped out or you've went to the toilet or you walked the dog, you forget that the man was even in the tournament. You know what I mean? Like I said, I predicted Ryan to beat Joe, but that's not saying that Joe couldn't have won anyway, because Joe's quality, like, you know, end of, like, and he can go deep in this tournament. Any one of them can. You know what I mean? Like, but it showed today what he's capable. I mean, like the fourth set, 2-all on Joe's throw, and that changed it then again. Do you know what I mean? Like in those sets are changing. Like, they're just so, that sets game changes so fast. You're 2-0 up, all of a sudden it's 2-all, all of a sudden it's 4-2. You're gone. Good looking, thanks.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like,
I think part of Joe.
But to be fair, Joe pulled it. Joe.
Go on, John. Sorry.
No. I was just saying, like, Joe still got the job done. He was there to do a job, but even he said in his interview afterwards, he got nervous. He got nervous there when Ryan was starting to come back. I think Ryan had darts in the fifth set to go 3 sets to 2 up. I think if Ryan wins that set and he goes 3-2 up, I think Joe's gone. I think Joe admitted that himself in his interview afterwards. But you see, this I just couldn't believe the amount of darts that Ryan Searle had missed at a double. I don't think he can believe it himself, you know, to be fair to him, like, you know, but Joe got the job done. That's the bottom line. They don't write that on the trophy.
Exactly. And you mentioned Joe Cullen's interview. Let's hear from Joe right now.
Well, I don't know. With a bit of luck, Ricardo beats him. That'll be ideal, isn't it? But no, whoever it is, you know, it's a World Championship. It's the last 16. You're not going to get, I know it's cliche, but you're not going to get any easy games in the last 16. If Ricardo does go on to beat Luke, he's done it on merit, and he's played some amazing darts. So whoever it be, you know, hopefully I won't be playing tomorrow. Hopefully I get a day off and I'll be playing Saturday. I was sick in my mouth a little bit. But no, it's one of them. It's a great shot to take if you're the one that hits it. And like I said, it would have hurt anyway, but after missing 3 clear darts, and I love double 18 as well, you know, I backed myself there, but especially after missing that, it hurt even more. But obviously I got my own back the next step. Oh no, it's one of those. I think I did an interview before my game tonight, and Abby said, Ryan's one of the best double top hitters, but Darcy knows, so I can't stop him hitting double top. You know, I can only do stuff to put pressure on him. So it's one of those. Again, it's cliche, but if you play your own game, I think I've got the game to go on and win the whole thing. So whoever it be, whether it be Luke or Ricardo, you know, I'll definitely be up for it.
Yeah, well spoken from Joe, as it normally is after a win. And you know, he's always honest. He was honest on stage. He was honest with Phil, where he mentioned that, you know, he would rather play the slightly weaker player. But
yeah. Who doesn't?
Especially at this stage of the tournament,
you know
when
what I mean?
you are coming into that business and it's so important.
The one thing you'll always get from Joe is honesty, 100%. Joe left 36 after 12 darts, misses, and Ryan goes out on 124 to steal the set. You know what I mean? Like, you can't, and then he got it back. He got it back in the next one after that. As he said there in his interview, he got him back straight after that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but look, Joe calls it as he sees it. That's the bottom line. Like, but look, there was only one. At the end of the day, when you look at that result, there's only one result here, and that's 40% to Joe on his doubles, 23% for Ryan. Ryan lost that game simply on his finish. Bottom line, you know.
Yeah,
there's no way, you know.
Perfect way, I guess, to move on to game number 2. And John, I'm just going to reel off some stats on game number 2. Chris Doby 4, Ross Smith 2. Chris Doby averaged 102.36. Ross Smith averaged 103.33. There was 27 180s thrown. And in set 2, Chris Doby averaged 122.30. and
Felt.
the highest single set average so far of the World Championships. And we've also had Chris Doby in set 3 was averaging 130 before missing, I think it was 7 set darts, and then lost that set. That just showed, just those numbers alone, before we go into depth on the game, just shows what a
There's only
game
one.
we've got.
There's only one word that can describe that game: filth. Pure filth. It is. Do you know what? I wrote down. I had to write down a few things, right? Doza was commentating on this game, like, you know what I mean, like. But I don't know what they're feeding them in the northeast of England. But there's something happening anyway up there, like, you know what I mean, like. But yeah, 27 180s. Like, Ross was losing 2 sets to 0, averaging 110. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it was just ridiculous.
Can I change my date of birth? You know what I mean? Like, just move the seniors forward about 6 months.
But I guess, John, also when you look at the stats and when you look at the numbers and you sort of break it down, the check out percentages, because I don't want to just go on stats because this was just a brilliant spectacle if you didn't have them, but both players were on 35% of Dublin checkouts. However, Ross Smith had one lead where he missed 7, and Doby also had that lead that I mentioned where he missed 7. If you looked at them as an individual, taking out those 7 and taking out when they had the top of leads where they missed a handful, they was absolutely relentless on the outer ring. There's 27 180s. You're expecting that percentage probably not to be as high, because the practice and the damage was done there, but they wasn't missing anything between them.
Yeah. I tell you now, I wrote this down, right? And the only reason I wrote it down was 6 legs, right? On a pro tour. It's 6, it's the first of 6, right? So Chris is he's 1 set up and he's 2 legs up in the second set, right? So he's 1-5, and this is the 6th leg, right? Ross is averaging 112, right? Chris is averaging 114, and they've had 10 180s. Man, that's just mind-boggling. And like you said, there was 1 set, the 3rd set, only for the 7 missed darts. Chris had a double. He was averaging 130 in the set.
It's not normal, is it?
Where do you go? Darts boys are all capable of this carry on, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's filth, it's pure filth. That's the only way you can describe it. It was a game of 2 halves, like a 2 sets all. They were both averaging 107.
What it actually makes me think, John, is you're a complete madman by going back to Q-Stall to compete with. We talked about the likes of Luke Littler and Stephen Bunting doing things. We've got someone who's lost 4-2 in a World Championship, averaging 103. It's just ridiculous, the standard that these players can produce, not over your first of 6 games, but these London formats as well. Have we lost you, John? Are you still there? It's like having Dob back on the stream. We have lost the joke of what we're talking about. Can you still hear me, John?
Yeah, you broke up on me there, buddy.
Okay, perfect. Are you back now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you perfectly.
All right, I can hear you there. I can hear you there now, yeah.
All good then. We'll just let the connection set back up. While we're doing that, let's hear from the man himself, Chris Doby.
Yeah, I'm confident. If I can put on a performance like that, then I've got a great chance. He'll not want to be playing me in that kind of form, and I've got a good record. I think I've won 4 of the last 5 against Mike as well, so that'll be in his head, and I'll be going in there confident. There's no pressure on me whatsoever. He's the world champ. He's got all the pressure on his shoulders, so I'm just hoping to dethrone him.
And John, just before we move on to the evening session and we talk through the 3 games tonight, just one word, just one sort of question on that Twist Doby and Michael Smith game. Does Twist Doby now go into that the favourite, even though he's down up against the world champion, because of Smith's form in his first 2 games and Doby's form on the back of that?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I think so, 100%. I was going to say that anyway. Chris is a dangerous player now, no matter what tournament he's entered. That Premier League has done him the world of good. You know what I mean? Like, that guy has a throw. It's mint. You know what I mean? Like, there's very little go wrong with that throw. As was Ross Smith's throw. His throw is mint as well. You couldn't split the two of them. Chris came out, but Chris going in against Michael Smith, I think Chris was right in his interview there. Michael Smith is under pressure. He's not performed. He knows that himself. He's not stupid. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know people on social media have been blaming his dart. Look, I think Michael Smith could throw anything he wants, even nails if he felt like it. You know what I mean? Like, but this is all boils down to one thing. As a famous Cork man once said, Boise, and you know this saying, fail to prepare to fail. You know, 100%. If Michael Smith has said what he said about enjoying the World Championship win for the last 10 months, and he didn't really give it 100%. Well, I can tell you this. I can tell you this right now. Chris Doby has, and Chris Doby will beat him if that's what he's gone in with. You know, but that doesn't mean that Michael Smith not going to just show up as he does. But I'd be I'm a big Chris Doby fan. I like his attitude. He's a good lad. Like I said, his throw is mint. The boy could go deep in this. He can go deep into this tournament, big time. Yeah, 100%. Next question.
Unfortunately, for everyone who's watching tonight, we'll hear who you predict to win when we finish the day's play. But just leaving on the afternoon session, for me, it totally lived up to expectation. It was billed as the best session as round 3 by a lot of people on social media, and it lived up to that in every stretch of the imagination, from outstanding performance from Stephen, one of the best games of the tournaments by Ross and Chris, and the drama of what Joe, Cullen and Ryan Searle had with the doubles. It certainly did live up to it. And then the drama and upsets continued into tonight, John.
You'll be very careful now with that word. You have to be very careful with that word now. Upset.
Derwin Price against Brendan Dolan. There is not a lot of people, I'm not going to say no one, there's not a lot of people who would have had Brendan Dolan to beat Derwin Price, but he did it, and he did it, if I'm being honest, convincingly.
Yeah. Look, I won't lie to you. I gave you my prediction. I thought Gezi would beat Brendan 4-1, but that didn't stop me from shouting for Brendan. Do you know what I mean? Like, but you know, how do you even begin? Where do you even start? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I got annoyed at the very start of that game when commentary were calling Brendan a pest. Now, this is a professional sport. These are professional people. These are ex-dart players. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't sit down when the Ryder Cup is on, listening on Sky Sports when some fella just won't bugger off and leave Tiger Woods alone and call him names. I don't see the professional side of whether it was meant in jest, whether it was meant as a joke. Don't do it.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, because it's understanding the meaning of what Wayne means when he alluded to that, because you can see on the side of that it's disrespectful. The flip side of that is it mentioned around.
Don't do big.
Breaking up then, Mr. O'Shea.
You don't call.
We seem to have lost John O'Shea just for the time being. We will get him back very, very shortly. I've just seen his internet connection has dipped. But back to the game. Brendan Dolan took an early lead, held on to that lead, and Price then didn't seem to be able to live up to a crowd at Ali Pali, and it just seemed that whatever he wanted to do, he couldn't seem to find. We seem to have John back 1 second. Let's let him back in. John, can you hear me now? No, I can't hear you. 1 second. Yeah.
The host muted your mic.
There you go, John.
Okay.
I can hear you now. Perfect.
Can you hear me?
Can hear you. Yeah, perfect.
Oh yeah.
I was just alluding to everyone else that it seemed like Brendan Dolan got hold of that match early on and just was able to keep Price away at arm's length.
Yeah.
But on Derwin Price, and we will come back to Brendan Dolan and hear from Brendan Dolan as well. On Derwin Price, is it now becoming a problem with Derwin Price and Alexander Palace because he just didn't seem to have that fight and that stage presence that we've seen from Price at Aldersley or match play, or do you think it was just an off day for Price?
I think it was just an off day. Look, Gezzy's come from another professional sport. You know what I mean? Like, he's been in arenas where there's quadruple what's inside in Ali Pali. You know what I mean? Like, he's played on the Pro 12 with Glasgow Warriors. Like, he came from another professional sport. Rugby, it's drilled into him at a young age that rugby, his mindset is all about winning. Gezzy had an off day. Gezzy knows he had an off day. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think, I know they talk about the crowd booing him and whatnot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but no, he's a lot stronger than that. Gezzy's a lot stronger than that. I think he just had an off day. Brendan took his chances, played really, really well. And that's what another seed player does to another seed that's off on. That's what I saw of it. Gezzy was nowhere near his best, but then neither was Brendan. But Brendan played better.
Just before we hear from Brendan,
wins.
Just before we hear from Brendan, John, that's 2 matches now that Brendan's won. Not winning the most leads in that match, not hitting the most 180s, which we know he can hit the 180s, but he's not known as being one of the best hitters on the floor. But more on the he's the only player. He was the first player to win a day this year with not winning the most leads. He's followed up with his next game against Derwin Price. I briefly had a chat to his manager, Will, this evening, who was very much, it was just a great win, and he's doing things at the right moments, which, as you said, Phil Taylor's alluded to. But Brendan Dolan's just doing that in this tournament, and it's working perfectly for him.
Yeah, look, I must give Brendan a ring and see how he's able to pull this off. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because, but you know what? Fair play to him. Absolutely fair play to him. The man's been around a lifetime. He's, like I said before, he's led the way in Irish darts, and he's gave us people like me inspiration to follow in his footsteps. And long may it continue. You know what I mean? Like, but Brendan, you will never in your life, and I mean this, come across a nicer bloke ever. It's actually a toss-up of a coin between him. Go on.
Him and who?
Johnny Clayton.
I knew you was going to say Johnny. Just while we're on Brendan Dolan, let's hear from the man of the moment himself.
I think possibly he has had, a lot rougher crowds in the past, or, when I see it on television, I've felt it a lot worse, but I don't know what it's been like because I haven't been in the venue. But definitely, for me, against Gezzy, I've played him a couple of times on the stage, and that's the worst it has been, against Gezzy. And yet, in the flick of a switch, they're roaring him on. And, it was too mixed, and once I got ahead, and at certain stages where he was going for doubles at the end, the booing and that there for me it was not on, or it shouldn't have happened. But you know that's why that 81 and that 76 to make it 2-2, it was just pure class. Just them finishes, you don't think much, they're far better than a 170 or 164, you know, because 170, 164s, you have nothing to lose. Gezi had everything to lose there, and he pulled it out of the fire. Thankfully, he didn't score enough in the last. I suppose in certain ways I'm not used to all the crowds, you know, being for me, but you know, and probably at certain times when I started cheering for Gezi, it kind of calmed me down a bit, you know. I said, okay, we're back to normal again, but it can be hard. It can be more distracting than anything, and that's the only hard thing. It's nothing like what Gezi's feeling. You know, Gezi's fighting a battle all the time, and the man doesn't deserve it. You know, as far as I'm concerned, you know, he's a class act and he does amazing stuff for our game, our sport. He's, you know, just pure class, and you know, the performances he's put on stage has been amazing at times. You know, so that in itself, I suppose, it makes my win a lot sweeter.
Yeah, as always, Brendan, very well spoken, and comes across very gracious in victory and defeat. And he speaks very, very highly there of Derwin Price, and like he says, I thought it was still quite bad today. I didn't think it was as bad as it's been. I still thought it was quite bad today. And Brendan sort of probably alluded to very similar points. For him on stage, he's never experienced it, so to experience it felt really bad. But actually, like he says at home, it is a bit different. But moving on to the positives for Brendan, it's a win, it's a place in the last 16.
Yeah.
And
but you know what?
The way he's winning games, he's got to be going into it positive, because there is a probability, looking at does he place the winner of Anderson and Boris tomorrow, the probability is he doesn't play till Saturday. So he's got a couple of days rest, you would assume.
Yeah.
That the one put him on Friday due to Anderson playing Thursday evening. And to me, then, that plays in favour. It's an extra day's rest on whoever he plays. So all things are looking very, very good for Brendan Dolan.
Oh, yeah, big time. Look, even in that interview there, boys, the bottom line here was that he's 100% right in what he said. Gezi don't deserve that. Gezi is an absolute gentleman. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't deserve... I suppose we don't at home hear it as badly as if you're not in the venue. But I can agree. I agree 110% with Brendan. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Gezi don't deserve all that shouting and abuse and booing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but Brendan's interview just sums Brendan up. That's Brendan all out, and that's it. Every interview from here to the day the man passes away, that'll be his interview. You know what I mean? Like, he has great respect for every single person that stands on the same hockey as him. And he is totally against anybody that's like against what happened with Gezi when he played him, or anybody that plays Gezi on that stage. You know what I mean? Like, it's uncalled for. But look, when you feed all these people a load of drink all day long, they think it's a great crack. Like, I heard in the middle of one game there a while ago, there was a guy whistling. I was like, seriously? You pay good money, you go there, enjoy the crack, enjoy the dance, enjoy the sing song, like, but you really have to whistle out loud up next to a, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, John, that point exactly probably leads us on perfect. It probably leads us on perfectly, because I totally agree with you. The people who whistle are complete and utter idiots, but it leads on perfectly to game number 5 of today, and what was Humphries versus Pietreczko. Yeah. Another very good watch. Numbers might suggest otherwise. And that's why this game isn't just about stats at all. Yeah. It was a very watchable game. It was a very good game. An upset was on the cards, and Humphries did find that way back. Just one thing I want to talk to you about before we go into the game. We saw the social media post from Humphries about an hour before his game that his point had then broken. We found out since, obviously, that he had to change his darts completely because he didn't have any replacements similar to the other two that he was using. How important was it for Lute that he was able to still get over the line with a change something that you would never expect as a dart player to happen so close to you going out and playing that game. Yes, your flights or your stems, but for your point.
Yeah, I think Luke has played with those darts for a long time. Didn't he have one of those points was different to the other two?
Yes. Yeah.
Strange. It was something to do with the point changer. He couldn't get the point out, or he couldn't get one in. I don't know what it was, but he had 1 point different to the other two anyway. But look, for somebody that's not used to changing, like if you take Rob Cross, for instance, Rob changes his darts every time he plays. So a new set of darts to Rob means absolutely nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I stay with the same set of darts as long as I possibly can. Now, if I have a few sets of the same darts, I rotate them so they feel the same. You know what I mean? Like, so I would play darts with 3 different sets, but they're all identical. Whereas Rob would change his darts each time he plays. So each dart that he throws with is a brand new set of darts. So if Luke played with his set of darts that he's always played with, and for him to change today when that happened, and for him to achieve what he's done in that scenario, you know, kudos to the man, because I can tell you, if you had a set of darts that you've had for 20 years and you're playing in a final and the point busted and you've no way of changing that point, and you have to go away and either get another dart or another set of darts, you're panicking. You're panicking big time. And especially against Pietreczko, who's been playing really, really well these past few weeks. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, kudos to Luke for doing what he done and to come back. I think he was on about the crowd over on the right hand side of the stage were giving him fair grief. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I reckon he could have done with half of Ellen Road inside there tonight, I'd say, the Leeds man, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's why I mentioned and sort of brought into it. It was interesting to get your point of view as a professional player of how important that build-up would be. But then into the game, you mentioned it on the first game that maybe it didn't come across on TV that it was bad, the crowd, to Derwin Price. But one thing that Luke Humphries alluded to in his post-match on TV and in his post-match with the media is that every time he was up for a double or a check-out, the whistling was relentless from that one side of the board. And one thing I just want to get across of this is the amount of Germany fans that come over to the World Championship is great. It is unbelievable the amount who travel. And we're not going to say that it's all of them that have behaved this way. Because Luke was able to pick out a section of the crowd. And while you're on there, you can obviously pick them out. But for Luke to react the way he did, I think there was a stat I saw that out that 12 months ago to the day, Michael Smith was 3-1 behind to Martin Schindler and won 4-3. And Michael Smith went on and won the World Championship. Is this the day that Luke Humphries, we've seen him do unbelievable stuff. Is this the day that he's now, he was already a serious contender, but is this another notch that we haven't seen from him recently?
Yeah, I think that tonight was definitely another notch. But yeah, you know, for what he was able to pull off tonight under those circumstances, you know, I'm not sure how many people could have pulled that off. You know, like we've heard it with Gezi, we've heard it with other players down through the years. You know, watching back there today when they were going through the World Championship finals, the years that different players won it. Like, and I think there was 1 or 2 finals there when fellas were going up the throne for a double, the crowd went absolutely ballistic. Now, I've stood on that stage, boys, as you know, last year, and I stood back off the line at one stage to throw for a double, and the whole place stood up and started singing, just singing, and the stage was shaking. You know what I mean? Like, so when you have people that are whistling, like you're going in to throw for an important double to win a set or win a leg to keep yourself in a set, and if you're a rhythm player, you go up going bang, 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 the darts are gone out of the hand even before they even realise what's happening. But the minute they see you go up and then pull back, I've seen it there while ago with Darryl. He just paused for a second just to fix the shaft in the barrel. And all of a sudden, it's like they woke them all up. Whoa! Everybody's like, I'm saying, shut up and sit down, you shout a fucking idiot. You know, you'll leave him throw for his double, like, you know. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like all of a sudden, like, it's like, but when they start all together, I shit you not, man. When I was up on that stage last year, man, the whole stage shook. You know, it's a lovely place for a dart lover like me to be up there. But to be up there when they start doing that stuff, they know where to run, they know where to hide. You know what I mean? Like, and for players under pressure to hit a winning double or to keep themselves in the set under door circumstances. Yeah, kudos to Luke Humphries. Yeah, big time.
Yeah,
big time.
Kudos to
Now,
100%,
Ricardo
100%.
played his part.
Yeah,
You know,
Ricardo ended a very, very good year in a very, very good way. And it's not with, I know it's not a nice to go out of any competition at any stage, but he's gone up against a tournament favourite. He's touched into a last set decider. He's absolutely through. What he had left at Luke Humphries, and just that little bit of quality at the end, the sort of 102 that Luke Humphries found in average in the sixth set to take us to decider. And then you felt like Luke Humphries has found his game with these darts. It took a little bit of time. But let's hear from Luke Humphries himself.
Rubbish there. There's no denying that. It wasn't my best performance. The point breaking before I started wasn't the best thing, was it? Playing with a different set of darts, obviously it really didn't work for me. You can see on the stage I tried changing flights and stuff, nothing was working. So it's them set of darts that really have won 3 majors for me, and I had to put them in the case. So yeah, one easy for me. It was quite surprising. I thought there was going to be a good German crowd. I think that 40% of the tickets were German people. I thought the English crowd was going to voice with them, and they kind of did in the end when I was coming back. But you got to give credit to them because they were fantastic in there. There was about 3 people that were just whistling and booing every single throw. I don't know if you picked it up on the cameras or anything like that, but it was just ridiculous, every throw. But what can you do about it? There's nothing you can do. They've paid their tickets, they come, and if they want to try and do that and affect the game, then it's impossible to stop them. But they got what they deserved in the end with the reaction.
Is that true?
I'm the favourite. I'm not going to repeat what he wants me to say. I think, of course, he is right in what he says. I understand that, but I think I deserved, when I walked into this room as the tournament favourite, because what I've done the last 2 months, I deserved that. But I think if you're going to place your bet, you probably would Michael, and there's only one reason, is because he's been the most consistent and best dart player over the last 10 years. If you're going to rely on someone to perform, it's going to be Michael.
Michael trying to get a bite out of Luke Humphries previously, and Luke giving him absolutely nothing. And then, John, we move on to the final game of what has been a fantastic 2 sessions. Yeah. It was Ricky Evans against Daryl Gurney, and Daryl Gurney found a way to win. And then it wasn't a spectacular game, but we're probably comparing this to what we'd seen from the likes of Ross Smith with Doby, what we'd seen from Bunting. It wasn't from a standard perspective the same, but again, it had an awful lot of drama from set 1, from Ricky Evans opening up with a 130 opening length. From that moment, all the way until the end, there was us on the edge of the seat, undecided which way this game was going to go. Yeah.
I think because the games beforehand had went on, they'd done their course. You know what I mean? Like Gezzy's game against Brendan, and then the game after it. It was the night was getting on. The lads were probably back in the lounge or back in the players' lounge, probably wondering how long more. For 2 exciting players, Ricky Evans being Ricky Evans and him doing what he does, and Darryl, there's only one thing comes into my head when someone mentions Daryl Gurney is fiery, mad, you know what I mean? Like, you saw his reaction when he won with those big checkouts in his last game. that's Darryl Gurney. We all know that's the Darryl Gurney everybody wants to see. Unfortunately, that doesn't come out often enough, as far as I'm concerned. And I've said this to Darryl on tour. I says, you know, what happened to that fiery Darryl? You know what I mean? Like, but I won't tell you the answer he gave me. But you know, I know some of the reasons behind it. But and Ricky, you know, played Ricky 2 or 3 times this year. You know what I mean? Like, you know, yeah, fucking sweat be pouring off you just trying to keep up with it. You know what I mean? Like, so the game itself was a bit, you know, I think even Darryl's celebrations when he was winning legs or when he was winning sets, you know, when he was walking off the stage with his head or walking away from the hockey, when he hit that 130, put his head down, walked away, walked back to the line. Ricky was just standing there. I thought the game itself was a bit flat, but it didn't take away from Darryl playing well. Ricky played well, but I reckon if that game had been an opener of the night, I reckon we'd have saw 2 different, completely different players.
And do you think, John, just a perfect person to ask this question to, Ricky and Darryl are both from the same stable? You've come up against people from your same stable before. Do you think, and we've seen Ricky div a lot on stage, we've seen Darryl div a lot on stage, do you think there was a certain level of respect that probably meant the Dame didn't live up to the level of performance that we can see from both Ricky Evans and Darryl Gurney?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It doesn't... I've played Rob Cross this year. I've played Josh this year. I've played Scotty this year. As you know, the 4 of us are on the same team. And it's not the same. It's not the same because you spend your time supporting them. You know what I mean? Like, and then when you play them, it's like, no, I gotta beat you. No, you're not my friend. You know what I mean? Like, and there is an element of friendship that comes in the way, but you gotta stand on that line and take that friendship over it and be done with it. Like, it's the same with the Irish boys. When I play the Irish boys, I've played them all this year. Brendan, Mickey, Willie, Stephen, Keano. You know what I mean? Like, it's literally every man for himself. But yeah, there is an element of, you know, we're good friends. We're part of the same stable. We're part of the same group. We sit together. We dine together. We drink together. And now I got to fucking battle you. That's the bottom line. Like, you know what I mean? Now you're in my way. You know, that kind of attitude. You need that attitude too. Like, but look, it's the same for them. It's the same for them.
Yeah, and that finish, like says, we saw a bit of everything on day 11. We saw great averages, we saw great drama, and we saw an upset from a seeding perspective with Dolan and Doby Price. So we delivered an awful lot. But this, and I appreciate that we are very late into the night, so I appreciate everyone who's in the chat room and still tuning in. But it is your time to get involved because it is now prediction time for day 12, John, and I know what social media is like. Everyone's going to be listening to your predictions and they will be calling you out for them tomorrow day. So we are going to go straight in with game number 1 tomorrow, John, and it's Damon Heta versus Barry Vampire.
Demo wins this. The Demo wins this. Yeah.
To what store? We don't sit on the fence with just the result here, John. You know this.
Demo wins 4-1.
Oh, I've got mine written down already. I've also got Damon 4-1. I was impressed with Barry.
You do know now my latest predictions for the last 2 days have been absolutely chronicle. I've got most of the winners right, but predicting the score, man, is unreal.
Yeah, it is very difficult, and kudos to what Emma Payton did a few sessions back in predicting 4. Absolutely spot on. Let's just go through the chat room and let's see some of the predictions. It's very heavy on Damon Heta. David's got 4-2 Heta. Paul's just on for Heta. Dan Simpson has done 4-1 Heta. Oh, me, you, and Dan have all done 4-1. That definitely isn't happening. Sorry, Dan.
That's not it anyway. That's 4-2 to Barry.
Yeah, and well, Graham's done 4-2 to Berry. We've got 4-1 header from HGV. Preston has done 4-1 header. Daniel 4-2 header. Jamie 4-0 header. Tommy 4-1. Jack 4-3. Sean is a Berry fan and on 4-2. Bob 4-2 Berry as well. And Connor has done 4-0. Anthony, thank you for joining us from the US as always. Moving on to game number 2, and this one's a difficult one to call. Johnny Clayton versus Christoph Ratajski, because Johnny Clayton, I would expect, will go in favourites with our friends at Paddy Power. However, it hasn't been the best 6 months for Johnny, but he can find a way on that stage. And I'll go first on this one, John, and I've gone for Johnny just getting over the line, but I'm expecting 7 sets here.
Yeah. My head says something completely different to my heart. My head says Christoph, but my heart says Johnny, and I can relate to Johnny's situation at the moment. You know, Johnny just recently lost his father, and he was a big part of Johnny and the darts. And I listened to one of Johnny's interviews there recently, and he's heartbroken. The fact that his father is not there to see him up on the Ali Pally stage because they've done it for so long. I can relate to that because when I played Johnny last year at Minehead, Laura's dad had passed away that same night, and it took months. It didn't affect me immediately. It didn't. I say that wrong. It affected me, but not as much as it affected Laura because it was her father, or he was my father-in-law. But I can see where Johnny's coming from. And I watched Johnny's game against Stephen Lennon. And it was like Stephen was fighting for his tour card and Johnny was just going through the motions. If Johnny shows up, and he will give it 120%. I know he will. Because that's what Johnny does, you know what I mean? So I think he'll get, like I said, my head says Christoph, my heart says Johnny. So I'm going to go for 4-3 Johnny.
That means with 2 out of 2, we are exactly the same predictions on these two. That's not looking good for the Damon and Johnny right now. Dan's also done 4-3 Clayton. Let's just have a look. Connor's done 4. Oh no, that's Heta. David's done 4-3 Clayton, and Sean's done 4-3 Clayton. I think most people.
Dan, stop copying us.
Most people are very much that this is going to be a tight game. We've got a 4-3 Ratajski from Tommy. 4-2 Johnny from Graham, 4-1 from Connor, Ratajski 4-1 Paul, HDV 4-3 Ratajski. Jamie's done 4-3 Johnny, has extra legs written all over it. It's certainly one that you would expect to go deep. Preston's 4-2 Johnny, Daniel 4-2 Ratajski, Joel 4-2 Ratajski. Jack has done 4-3 Ratajski, and Bob 4-2 to Johnny. Lewis is in last minute there with a 4-1 Ratajski. Moving on to game number 3, John. With you first.
Have we only had one game to go to sudden so far? Was that Mickey and Brendan's game? Is that the only game that's?
Yes. Yes, it certainly is. But
Jim Williams and Raymond van Barneveld.
And the winner of this is to play. The winner of this is to play a certain Luke Littler.
Oh, flaming hell! I'm gonna go. Jim Williams win.
Oh no! Oh no!
I'm gonna go 4-2 Jim Williams.
I can't even share my notes. I don't think it'll appear on the screen. No, it won't. I've got 4-2 Jim Williams. I write mine down before, just so I don't change my mind. But I have on 4-2 Williams. Dan Simpson.
Phil Bowers, you're sacked. You're sacked.
Dan Simpson, if you reply,
if he goes back now with 4-2, that's Phil Bowers and Dan sacked.
Luckily, Dan has done 4-2, but he's done 4-2 with Barney. So that is that's certainly a bonus. Graham's done 4-3 to Barney. David's done 4-1. Jim Connor 4-3 Barney. Head says William. Heart says Barney for Sean. Preston's done 4-3 Williams. 4-2 Williams HGV. Jatt has done 4-3 to Jim. Daniel's done 4-3 Jim. Paul's done 4-2 MVB. Tommy's done 4-3 Barney. Sean 4-1 to Jim. Bob 4-1 to Barney. And Tonna wants the Barney alarm. It'll be played tomorrow night if he wins. But not right now because we are very deep into the night. And the missus would tell me if an alarm is off as I wake up. Moving on to the evening, John. It is with me first. Darren Anderson versus Boris. Darren Anderson, I can't see him struggling with Boris. The one thing I will say is it's all on the start for Boris. If Boris can be in early on, that's the only way he will question Darren Anderson. But I've got Darren to win 4-1 because I think he'll just be too strong for him, the same as Dan. What have you got? Don't say 4-1, John.
I'm going to go for Gary here. And it's very... Gary makes things very easy for people. 4-0. It's just too strong.
Yeah,
he's going to be too strong for Boris. I genuinely think that. You know, maybe 4-1, but I think Gary's up for this. I spoke to Gary a few weeks ago, and this is all he's been talking about. He wants this. He wants this. He wants the third one. I think he's up for it. And I think he beats Boris. You know, it'll be close in sets again. Yes, Boris will win legs, but I think Gary does the important things again at the right time. I think he's been there. He's done that. Wore the T-shirt. Thanks very much. I think Gary wins. It'll look flattering, the scoreline. It'll be obviously a lot closer than that. But I think 4-0. I think 4-0. Maybe 4-1.
Just going through.
I'd say 4-0.
Yes, because I've done 4-1. We're not having the same on this one as well. It's then Darren. Everyone in the.
I stick to 4-0. So.
Everyone in the chat room that I can see just running through has done for Darren Anderson, apart from Sean, who has backed Boris. We've got someone who's done 12-0 Darren Anderson, and I'm with John. I think Darren Anderson wins. Well, I've done 4-1. He's done 4-0. I think we'll see some close sets. But I think Darren Anderson will be too strong for Boris tomorrow. Now, these two games, John, absolutely anything could happen because the form of the some of these players is just ridiculous. But it is with...
I don't have any more games, no.
You don't? Have you not seen the two that have been released?
No.
No way.
No.
Not believing you. Game number 5,
I swear to God.
is... Okay, well, you don't have to make them up on the spot, but game number 5 tomorrow is Michael van Derwen versus Stephen Bunting.
What's the format?
Same.
Is it still first to 4?
Yes, still first to 4. Yeah.
This goes all the way. Sudden death.
In whose
this goes all the
favour?
way. Sudden death. Stephen Bunting.
I've done Stephen Bunting to win. I think this is the best version of Stephen Bunting.
Why?
I honestly, right now, think this is the best version of Stephen Bunting the PDC have ever seen. I know we've done ridiculous stuff when he went all the way in the Masters and the Worlds without dropping sets and, dropping any legs. And I think back then it was different level. And he's probably as close to, if not the best Stephen Bunting the PDC's ever seen. And from his perspective,
yeah, I agree.
And I think he beats Michael 4-2. Again, it's just about an important start. And when I mean that, it's not just about winning. If after 2 sets it's 1-1, I don't think that's a bad scoreline for Stephen because he's not behind. I don't actually think that 2-2 it would be a bad scoreline for Stephen. For him to be at that stage,
I'll be honest with you. I just don't think. Yeah, I just don't think that I mean, this what I'm about to say will probably get me fucking shot, but I just don't think Michael is as ruthless as he used to be.
Yeah, this could very easily be clipped.
It's my opinion. I just think he's not as ruthless as he used to be.
He hasn't proven that recently. But if there's one stage that he's going to prove that, it's probably the World Championship stage. Let's just go through some predictions from in the chat room. Run through them quickly. Graham's on 4-3 MVG. David's done 4-3 MVG. Dan's done 4-2 MVG. HEV 4-3 Bunting. Daniel 4-3 Bunting. Tommy 4-3 Bunting. 4-2 Bunting. A lot of support for Bunting. Sean's on 4-3 Bunting.
A lot of support for Bunting. Yeah, big time.
Everyone has done Bunting mental. Connor's done 4-3 MVG. Jamie's 4-2 Bunting. And all 4-1 MVG. I'm not sure how you've got them two storylines. And Bob's on 4-2 MVG. Preston 4-3 MVG. And that seems to be...
So that was a fall and banged ahead.
4-2 to one player or 4-1 to the other one. But you know what? I'm the worst at predictions, so here we go. And then, as Dan Simpson has just mentioned in the chat room, can we now do the main event? We can do the main event. It's hard to say it's the main event as MVG and Stephen Bunting's a fantastic dame. But dame number 6, John O'Shea, is Michael Smith versus Chris Doby.
Chris Doby. And not just on today's performance, which would have pushed me if I was still sitting on a fence after today's performance. But I'm going to go off Chris's year and how he has progressed. He is top quality. He is top quality. He'll be ready for it. Look, I'm not taking anything away from Michael Smith. He's world number 1. But has he done everything that was needed to be done to prepare properly for this event? I don't think so. And I think Chris is the better player, and I think Chris wins.
One thing I will say, just before I let you store prediction, I haven't seen Laura put any predictions in so far, John, but she's come out with a 4-1 prediction for Chris Doby in this one. Very brave, considering some of the other games are probably more easy to pick. She's done 4-1. Yeah. What are you done for, John? Storyline?
Sudden death.
3 sudden deaths. Is 3 sudden deaths you picked? 2, maybe 2.
Well, you see, we're at that stage of the tournament now where it's going to be extremely hard to see which guy has it on. Okay, we saw Chris do extraordinary things while ago in the first 2 sets, averaged 122, but then fell off. Let Ross back. That's wrong to say he let Ross back into the game. Ross was averaging 110, so he got himself back into the game. It wasn't Chris coming off, you know what I mean? But I can see something similar happening in the Smith game and the Doby game. And I think because of that, I think we're looking at 1-1, 2-1, 3-2, 3-1, and I think we're going the distance. Yeah.
So I've done for Chris Doby to win the game 4-2. So my biggest worry, John, is I've got all our predictions in front of me now. We have picked the same 6 players to win all the games tomorrow. That is very, very worrying. So I feel sorry for everyone that me and John have jinxed. But I've done for 4-2. Let's just run down in the chat room.
Don't believe everything we said.
David's done for 4-2 Doby, Jack 4-2 Doby, HGV 4-1 Doby. A lot of love for Doby. Graham's done 4-2 Doby. Dan Simpson has done 4-2 Doby, pride of the tune. Preston 4-3 Doby. Daniel 4-2 Doby. Paul 4-3. As I mentioned, Laura's done 4-1. Connor 4-1. All those are for Doby. Tommy says this is when he's going to show why he's a world champion, and on for 4-2 for Smith. 4-3
And he could
from
quite easily
Jamie,
do that.
4-2. Yeah, 4-2 Smith. Sean's done. Bob's done 4-3 Doby. And that is all the predictions in. So as we come to the end of the show, as always, I want to say a huge thank you for everyone tuning in. It is now 5-1. We started this show on the 28th of December. We're now in the 29th of December. Thank you very much to Paddy Power for their continued support. All the clips from the interviews you have seen, the full interview is available on our YouTube channel. Thank you for all your hard work, Mr. Bars. You will also see the Gurney interview over on the YouTube channel as well. Just as of that game finishing so late, we didn't have a clip for that one. As I said, thank you to Paddy Power. Thank you for everyone in the chat room for staying so late. And Mr. O'Shea, thank you for joining me on day 11 to talk through what has been a fantastic day and predict what is going to happen tomorrow.
Absolutely, Trent. Anytime, buddy. But can I say one thing before I go?
Yeah, of course, Dan.
Can I wish my two teammates the best of luck? Best of luck to Rob and to Scotty. They're still left in the tournament too. So
yeah,
I wish them the best of luck.
Yeah, it seems the right way to finish the show to come on, and we've alluded to teamwork and we've alluded to how it feels for Ricky and Daryl. So only right that you pass that message on to Rob and Stott. And like I says, from everyone at Online Darts, thanks very much for coming on, John. Thanks very much for everyone in the chat room. As per normal, we will be back tomorrow with the Fallout Bar as we will talk you through day 12 and we will discuss going into the final day before we go into the new year and the quarterfinals will get underway. Thanks very much for joining us and we will see you tomorrow.